Hello campers, I'm Lester. No, I am not a city, that's my name. If you're enjoying the music that you're hearing, that's good, because I was the one that made it. Check out my music on SoundCloud, if you feel like it. Shameless plug over. Without further delay, I'm here at gunpoint to introduce this week's Benny Shakes Things Up. Without further ado, here's Benny.
And welcome to another episode of Benny Shakes Things Up. We haven't done one of these for a while, but I thought we'd start doing some. So today's guest will be Lauren Smith. Now, I met her on Zoom 2 years ago doing GMB comedy, and I've seen her grow into a great comedian. She's getting on some good pro gigs, and we've got her on the show today to see how she's found it, how her disability affects her. So, welcome to the podcast, Laura Smith. Again, of Laura, no, Lauren.
Yes.
Lauren. Sorry, I've been practicing your name all morning and I still get it wrong. Well, welcome to Benny Shakes Things Up. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Benny. Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing? It's been a while since we've seen each other.
Yeah, I'm fine. I've just fed all the animals at the farm, so yeah, cool. Well, because we're a disabled podcast, before we get started, would you like to tell the audience a bit about you and what disability you've got?
Yeah, cool. So as introduced, Lauren Smith. I have got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a sort of genetic sort of abnormality. I have the classical version of that, and it's a connective tissue disorder. So I sort of lack collagen in sort of my joints and things, and things like my hands and wrists, and just sort of all my joints are quite kind of loose in their sockets, so that can be sort of interesting. I'm quite, I guess, lucky, I would say, that my progression of that has been really, really mild. So I'm sort of mostly ambulatory and generally pretty well with it. It's sort of a spectrum disorder in that it can be sort of really debilitating for some people, and sort of other people it can be a lot more mild.
We was trying to figure this out a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is it a physical disability or is it a hidden disability?
Well, I mean, I find this really tricky because I've got lots of friends with EDS that are sort of, perhaps that it is a lot worse for them, and, they need sticks, or, they need wheelchairs. There's different types of EDS where it really affects all your internal organs and can be very dangerous. Whereas I feel like mine, it does look quite an invisible illness. You can't really tell, whereas other people with exactly the same type of it, you can sort of see it a lot more. So I mean, it does affect me physically, and sometimes you can tell that. Certainly, obviously, if I've had quite a bad dislocation of something, yeah. But I don't really know. I tend to class myself as having as it being sort of more hidden, because it is outwardly you can't see with me. You know, my main sort of symptoms are sort of pain and fatigue, which you can't really measure. So yeah, it's I wouldn't really, I wouldn't really know.
I would say it's better both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And you said sometimes you can't get out of bed then.
Yeah, sometimes it's sometimes the fatigue is so debilitating, and the pain itself is so debilitating. So you know, I sort of have a cocktail of medications and sort of physical therapies and things to sort of try and keep me as healthy as possible, and sort of try and keep my joints and things as stable as possible. So
does it affect you with your work as well? Because I haven't got a clue. Do you work? You do, don't you?
So kind of. So so I'm self-employed. So I've always worked, and I traditionally always worked for employers. But what was happening is, one of the things with my illness as well is that I have a really low immune system. So what was happening was I was finding, whilst I was in employment, I was quite often losing work, and losing jobs, because I just got so sick with sort of viruses and bugs all the time. And it just became too much stress for me in sort of traditional employment, and for employers, you know, when you've got someone in for 2 weeks and then off for 2 weeks, and it's you just the sort of mental strain of feeling like, although I can't help it, that I was a burden on other employees or a burden on the business and things like that. So I got to the point, I think just before the lockdown, that I was getting ready to look at options to sort of leave sort of full-time sort of office-based employment, but then as it was, because of course the job couldn't be done from home, you had to go into the office. As it was, we went into lockdown, I got put into shielding, and so magically my job could be done from home. Wasn't that a surprise?
A lot of employers realised that they were getting more work done with people at home. They've just shut down the offices for good.
Yeah, so I did that. So I worked from home for a bit. So I worked from home sort of all through the pandemic, apart from when I was really poorly. And but then I left that, and I'm now working in, so I work on a sort of a freelance and contracting basis in community engagement with local charities, and on sort of community organising and community activism, and then comedy. So
yeah, I mean, you started comedy over lockdown, didn't you?
I started just before. So I started at the end of 2019. I did a comedy course, and then a comedy showcase. Did a few gigs down in London whilst I was down there. Then lockdown happened, and I did nothing until I think September 21. And I sort of
I thought you did GMB Zoom.
no, I didn't do any Zoom gigs.
All right, so ignore what I've said at the intro. I didn't meet Laura on Zoom.
You
But
might have
that's
done. I
all.
think I wonder if, because I think I sat in the audience for some, I sort of joined in the audience for some gigs, but I didn't actually participate in any. So I may well have been the audience in something. but yeah, I've sort of the only Zoom gig that I've done, I think, was
Valuable.
no, I did one of the heat rounds for the Funny Women Awards this year.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was on Zoom.
How
Um,
was that?
it was weird.
Yeah.
It's so different doing gigs on Zoom, and you sort of see a lot of comics now that sort of were doing them on Zoom, and they're sort of making jokes about it live now.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so. And then I had the experience doing that one gig, and I was like, yeah, it's really, really odd. So I'm glad we're not doing that so much anymore, because yeah, it was just strange not having
Mm.
the reaction and the feedback, or if you did have some, it was a bit delayed. And yeah, so
It was hard. I did about 50 Zoom gigs,
oh wow.
and yeah, but it made me a better comedian.
Mm,
So to make a Zoom laugh is hard,
yeah.
life destroying some,
I can imagine.
but it worked for me
Oh,
and
that's great.
several other disabled comedians. I think Colin Atwood is bringing some Zoom gigs back.
Yes.
Because some disabled people are still not, they can't access live comedy. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw that message the other day, and I think that's great. And I think that there's definitely a like I found it quite difficult to do, but that's not to say that there's absolutely not a necessity for
no,
sort of comedy to be accessible in that way.
yeah,
And I think I can't remember if I replied to Colin about doing some, so I'll definitely give them another go again.
yeah.
So I get over my sort of anxiety of not getting feedback.
I might do it just to write new jokes.
Yeah.
That's another way of doing it. So, but you've shined since we've been out of lockdown. You've
Oh,
moved up north, is
yeah,
it
thank you.
northeast?
Yes, so now I've moved back from London, back to Grimsby in northeast Lincolnshire, set up home back again. I lived here for 5 years before I moved down to London for 5 years, and I've come home. Um, yeah, so yeah, I love it. I love it here. We've got easy distance to the beach, um, to the Wolds. Just yeah,
More gigs, more gigs up here, ain't there?
yeah. So there's such a big difference between the northern comedy circuit, or I would say potentially just the comedy circuit anywhere outside of London. Once you get out of the North Circular, I suppose,
Yeah,
it's an entirely different world in comedy.
there's no bringers, there's
No.
no pay to gig, and I mean, what's that about? You need to pay someone to gig for 5 minutes, is that?
Yeah, so I'd heard of this, but I'd never. I did some bringers in London, and but I'd never heard of a pay to gig in London. I know that's a massive thing in New York, but there was sort of rumblings. But I don't think I gigged enough in London to find those gigs. But the whole bringer, I mean, it's really difficult because I've done some lovely bringer gigs.
Yeah,
Um,
I have.
but also like I really dislike that model. Um, as a disabled comic, as a female comic, as a mother, there's so many barriers that are in the way to participating in comedy already, and then being like, on top of that, to just get stage time, you need to find another person to come with you.
And 9 out of 10, the whole room is a bunch of comedians.
Yeah.
So your jokes, if they land, great, but are they landing properly or not? Because other comedians will fake laugh.
Yeah, and we've all got it. We've all got it, don't we? We've all got the comedian laugh, and we've all got the comedian clap, you know, where we've all learned the kind of air pocket to make that clap that much louder. You know, but we're not, a lot of the time I find that, and I don't think it's a disrespect thing or anything like that. I think that it's, if you've not been on yet, you're not really, unless you're sort of, you know, you're really confident and you're perhaps a lot higher up and this is just new material for you, you know, you're not really concentrating on what the other acts are doing because you're preparing for your own set. So it can be sort of, it's a real funny kind of bubble, I think, down at like bringer gigs.
I understand why they do it, but so come on. Less gigs and you might get a proper audience, but like you said, there's some great gigs down south, like G&B.
I love G&B, absolutely love that. I've had, just some really, really good nights there. And I think although it is a bringer, I know that the team work really, really hard to get an audience in as well. So that is a good night.
And Law Fable as well, that's a good night.
Yes.
To do that.
Yes, I know. Yes. So Mark sort of contacted me a couple of times, but it's just not fitting with when I've been able to get down to London. So I'm going to make a really concerted effort to get down at some point next year and go and do it.
Definitely is a good one. And you've this year getting some good open spots on some pro bills.
Yeah, I've done some amazing gigs since coming out of London. I've been on some really, really just shockingly good lineups, and it's almost like sort of meeting your idols, and you're like, and me. I can't believe it. Like I've gigged on a lineup with Ignacio Lopez, who is just like an idol of mine. And I gigged on a lineup where Justin Morehouse was the headliner, which just crazy.
Last Friday. What was last Friday?
No, last Friday I did I think it was Laugh Out Loud Comedy Club.
I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, I did that over at the comedy club over at the First Direct Arena, which was just mind-blowing. Like the comedy club itself, I think there was about 200 in the audience, they said. But I was just like so mind blown that I was doing something at the first, although obviously it wasn't the 14,000 seater arena. I was like, I can't believe I've like been doing this a year and I'm at somewhere like the First Direct doing comedy to a crowd of 200 people. Like that is mad. And that was really good. I think I'm trying to, and part of my condition as well is I have problems with my memory, and so I feel really awful because I can't actually remember the comics that I was on with.
I don't know, I can't remember. He sent me the email and I'm like, no, I can't do it. So that's when I said, you need to do this.
Yeah, so thank you for sending it over. I went over and I had a really, really good time. I'm trying to think what else I've been I gigged.
You
I
did
went.
the oh, is it called the Comedy Lounge in Hull?
Yes, I did. I did my first weekend at the Comedy Lounge. So I did that a couple of weeks ago. That was really good. I just did like a little middle spot for both nights there. And that went well. I got lots of good feedback from the guys that run the Comedy Lounge and the audience, which was really nice. So yeah, it's starting to pick up now. And I feel like I'm starting to find my feet a little bit. I think I'm about 64 gigs now in total.
Oh, wow.
Um, so it's been an exciting and just completely balmy journey.
Again, I think because you're so good at connecting with people, not like me, I'm crap at it. That's why I'm still slowly getting my foot up, but you're good. Again, how have you got a good support network?
Yeah, I do, and that's something that you'll occasionally see my sort of rambling Facebook posts
Yeah.
about as I kind of hit certain milestones. I've got just so one of the reasons that I moved back to Grimsby is that sort of my best friends are here, and sort of my core support network, and they are just incredible. Just as friends, you know, as they've all been there in some of that really, really, really scary sort of dark times with my health. I've got two children.
You're a full-time mum, a
Yeah.
comedian, and a freelancer.
Yeah, I've trying to juggle. I'm trying to spin many plates, but I like to keep busy.
Yeah.
And like my kids are bell ends, because kids are. But then they're teenagers. So, but actually, they are both so incredibly supportive. And if I pick up a gig last minute, they are always like, "Yeah, go for it." You know, and sometimes they come with me if I can't sort of arrange childcare. And they are sort of my biggest cheer. I mean, I'm not their favorite comic, as has been pointed out to me on a couple of occasions, but they sort of tell me that they're really proud of me, and if they do come to a gig, they'll both give me some feedback after seeing it, which is really nice. So yeah, I've been really, really lucky, and my family lives in Norfolk, sort of my parents and my sisters, and again, so supportive, and sort of really, if I ever have any wobbles, and I'm sort of worried about stuff, they're always like, no, you know, just go, you know, keep going, go for it, you know. So I've been really, really lucky, and I know a lot of people don't have that. So I think within my friend group, I try and sort of emulate that to other people as well, and try and be a big support to sort of other comics, and you know, and my friends and family and whatever they're doing. So
Cool. Shall we ask, how was Edinburgh, and did you enjoy it?
Oh, we're getting into the tea now.
Yeah.
Better take. She's like, oh, better take a swig of water.
Halfway through now, we might as well throw you in. Because I haven't told anyone on this podcast how I got on, so
Yeah, let's do it.
we can
let's do Edinburgh.
Yeah. How was it?
It was it was amazing overall, absolutely amazing, and I'd recommend it to any comic to go and do. It's a real roller coaster, and I'm very glad that I took it on board how I did it this year, which was I just went up for 2 weeks with no expectations. Obviously, I've not got a show. I'm a new comic. I've made a lot of connections from Edinburgh, but I didn't have that many when I got there. And I just went up and I just tried to get on as many spots on other people's shows as possible. Obviously, I came and did stuff for you guys. I did some stuff with Frizz. I did I did quite a lot for Steve at Disabled Can'ts.
That was amazing.
I loved that show. I really, really hope it goes that it goes every year, because it was, I mean, Steve's incredible and it was a great show, and what a good resource for
I've agreed to do the whole month next year.
I'm gonna do the same.
Yay!
I have no idea how I'm going to do it or how I'm going to afford it yet, but I'm like, no, that is August next year. Boom, whole month. We're gonna go for it.
I'm sure we're all clubbed together.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So, yeah. So it was good. Because you was a TikTok star as well.
Yeah, it was really really well, I wouldn't say star, but it was really weird. So I sort of started doing a couple of little TikToks before I went, and then I just got picked up by the TikTok street team, and had some chats with them, and that was really good. And I started doing a bit of a vlog whilst I was there, but I'll be honest, I had a few kind of being away from home, everything was going on. It was quite an emotionally charged kind of experience. I had a few kind of moments of just like, I don't know what I'm doing. So that kind of tailed off towards the end. And I'm not very technically savvy. I didn't have my kids there to teach me what I needed to what I needed to be doing. So I've not done a huge amount since I've been back. I need to kind of work out what on earth I'm doing, and I think sort of come January, I'd like to start doing more TikTok to get ready then for going back up in August again.
Are you going to take a show up?
I'm not sure. So certainly if I do take a show, it won't be a solo show. I'm in kind of talks with a couple of people have kind of mentioned maybe doing like a double or a triple bill.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I just say, I think you and Barbara Fernando would be ideal.
I love Barbara. She's so good, and it was so lovely to catch up, because I sort of saw her. I mean, Barbara is a machine for gigs. She is just, I mean, if you want to look at someone who is seen a dream that they want, and has thrown themselves into it and into the community and into the circuit. I mean, she's just wonderful and such an inspiration.
We've got her on the Blue Badge Bunch this month.
Oh, amazing.
6th of October in London.
Oh,
the link somewhere. But I mean, Edinburgh for me was amazing. We got 5 stars, 4 stars for the show, and it gave me a chance as a promoter to see you girls, how you coped with my show. And now, whenever there's a gig for the Blue Badge Bunch in your areas, I go to you first. Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's connections. I
Yeah.
mean, we're doing the vault. Have you heard of the vault?
No, where's that?
It's a festival in March.
Hmm.
It's central London
Oh, okay.
and it's underground.
Nice.
It's really good. Wheelchair friendly,
Excellent.
apparently, but we'll find out. So they came and saw the Blue Badge Bunch and they liked it and they wanted us to do it.
Oh,
So,
that's brilliant. Oh, I'm so pleased. Yeah, I mean, it's such a great show. And I really want to get you guys up to sort of our area, get you up to
yeah,
Grimsby as
because
well.
you've got funding, haven't you?
I'm sort of I've got my fingers in I'm trying to get my fingers in many pies at the moment, really. And I'm applying for all sorts of different pockets of funding for different things to bring sort of arts and culture to the area. So I'm just finalizing a second funding bid at the moment for sort of various things. So watch this space. I will be doing my best to get you across. But yeah, don't hold me to anything until
I just want you to grow as a comedian and get on more pro bills because you deserve it.
Oh, thank you.
One of the comedians I've seen grow from the start, and it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I can't even remember if I told you this, but we did a gong show, didn't we, at Comedy Lounge
Yeah,
together?
I still haven't had my 10 spot there.
Have you not? Oh, you'll have to, yeah, you'll have to get in touch with them. So my dad, my stepdad came to see that, and he absolutely loved you. So you are his favorite comedian. And whenever I sort of catch up with him about comedy stuff, like he asks if I've seen you and what you're doing, and I've given him all your socials.
Oh, it's great. Going back to Edinburgh, because I don't think I told anyone, but I use a wheelchair and it broke. Can you remember it?
Yes. Oh, I remember you telling me.
And then Susanna, my agent, bought me a walker.
Yes.
That broke in an hour.
Oh,
It just fell apart. So Edinburgh is good, but the cobbles, it's not accessible.
no.
But most of the venues did have accessible toilets.
Yeah, I mean, Edinburgh itself is not an accessible city. So I went to, so the Fringe Society were running sort of various workshops, and they did a call out for disabled performers to sort of go and have a chat. And I went to one of those meetings, and so although I am a disabled performer, I don't have the same access needs, and it was sort of interesting, sort of frustrating to listen to the difficulties that other performers were having, even down to things that even when there's been times where I've had to use a stick or a wheelchair that I'd not considered because that wasn't my everyday. It was things down to the slant of the way that the path was, even if it was just off at a slight angle, that actually it was pushing people's wheelchairs into the road. And it was just sort of so eye-opening to kind of listen to, even when I think that I'm someone who is quite aware and tries to be quite that I try to look for, ways in which things are more difficult for people and how that I can help and improve those things. That it was even like these little things that would have just never occurred to me. And so that was, I don't know. I mean, Edinburgh is a city that there's never going to be a way to sort of change it en masse. But I think sort of people pitch some sort of quite good ideas about there being sort of, it wouldn't take much for there to be more boards outside a venue that gives you really clearly the accessibility of the venue outside, before you've got to then try and attempt to work it out.
And also I found that there were 5 disabled acts here. There was one act way over there, and we were dotted about, and I thought if they put us not all together, but more in the right areas, we would have had a better time.
Yeah, I think so. I think there needs to be, because it seems to be run by sort of 3 different, so that you've got obviously the Edinburgh Fringe, so you've got the big ones, then you've got so you had the paid for fringe, then you've got like the free fringe, then you've got is it PBH? There just didn't seem to be enough coordination between the 3 over things that actually, having an accessibility, even if it was just Edinburgh Fringe themselves had one accessibility officer that could coordinate between everybody and just say, let's, yes, you're all running slightly different, but kind of let's work together a little bit better to make this more accessible. Because the room that Disabled Cants was in was great, apart from the slope to get down.
I think that helped us get everyone together and support each other. So thank you, Steve, for that.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Because Lost Voice guy did it. Okay, we had to move the chairs. That again, did you see the chairs?
Yeah,
they were tied together. So who's gonna nick your chairs?
I know.
It just didn't make sense. But I definitely want to go back. And I think if I have to go back, I know it's a bit more expensive, but I will go back with, I forgot where I was.
You were at the Pleasance, weren't you?
That's it, Pleasance. I think I would go back there. But did I tell you about the dome? The VIP?
No, we are in very different circles, Benny. I was definitely not a VIP.
Oh, apparently you could have got a VIP with me.
Oh.
Part of my show. So next year I'll make sure you get one.
Oh, thank you.
But with the dome, it was upstairs. And the only lift was beyond the bar, beyond the kitchen.
Oh.
It was this little lift. It was awkward, but I went there once and that was it. I don't go back again.
No, I think I didn't go to any of the sort of night events, although I didn't have any of the VIP passes to get in anyway, but I don't think a lot of them, it sounded like from other comics that they were all sort of like up rickety stairs and things like that. They didn't sound very accessible. we'll have to take charge of creating an accessible space for next year.
Yeah, I think we should have a VIP one for the cripples and retards. Whoa, sorry, disabled people. It's all right, this ain't no children podcast.
Oh my gosh.
It's not. But the Blue Badge Bunch is a children's show.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we need a VIP place for all of us. Folks.
Yeah, definitely.
But then again, is that segregating us? Because some people will say that. Some people will say, I mean, you set up a disabled forum, which is great, we use it. But some people might say, but why? Why segregate yourself?
Yeah, it's this sort of it's this argument that sort of goes round, isn't it? And I don't think it is segregation. You know, what we are creating is a space that we don't have, or a network that we don't have, or that we don't have access to already. Now, I'm assuming that, you know, if we create an accessible space for comedians with disabilities to go and celebrate at a bar, I don't think any of us are saying that an able-bodied person can't come in. By all means, more than come and join us, you know.
But you have to pay more money.
Yeah, well, they won't get a VIP badge, so they can pay an entry fee. Or, you know what? Come in on a free carer ticket.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, if we don't have something that is available to everybody else, I don't think it's segregation creating a space that works for us to have that same opportunity. Do you know, like, but we will just make it better because it will then be open to everybody to come and enjoy.
Because the dome was great. The downstairs was amazing, but upstairs it was crammed. I mean, me and Mark were advised to go. We went, there was a bunch of kids.
Oh.
And we looked at each other and went, what do we do? We can't communicate. So in the end, we just went out in the smoking area. That's where we did all of our connections.
Yeah.
So everyone needs to smoke. No, I'm no.
No comment.
Before we go, because I do a disability awareness game show, this season on the podcast, I want to ask everyone if we could make a game for your disability, what would it be?
Oh gosh, that is a tough one and on the spot as well.
Maybe I should ask this question before.
I think maybe you should just send people out a message beforehand and just say, oh, this is one question I'm going to ask you.
I will do that next time, I promise.
I even messaged you to say, oh, is there anything that I need to know?
It's me. I haven't got Kate Lovelock with me. So.
I think what I would do is probably so I'm quite dizzy a lot and then slightly off balance. Like I can't find my equilibrium because my muscles don't work in the same way. So I would probably put maybe a lift in one shoe, and or a heel on one foot and a flat shoe on the other.
Or a wobble board.
Yeah, or something like that, just on one side. And probably have someone sort of spin round sort of maybe sort of 5-6 times and then try and walk in a straight line. That's what mine would be.
All right, well, we might be able to make that work for next year. Because Mark wants everyone to have not electric shock, but you know them tense machines.
Oh yes, yeah.
Stick them on the inside and then make me some lunch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that would be really interesting.
so that might be coming to
Okay.
next year.
I'm going to crack out my tens machine and start practicing then. You know how competitive I am, Benny.
Yes, I know you are. Another question, because she'll never forgive me if I don't answer. Kate's question: what is your favourite crisp?
Oh, my favourite crisp. Right. Okay. So this I very much know. So it is McCoy's, the Thai chili chicken ridge in the aqua blue packet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, those I'm borderline obsessed with those crisps. I think I may keep McCoy's in business just for the volume of those that I eat. That's my go-to snack for anything. If I'm ever, the kids know if they've done something and they think I'm going to be slightly annoyed or they're running late home, they'll nip into a shop and it'll be like, Mom, I'm sorry.
Love it. Right now, does it work?
Yeah, I'm a very simple woman, Benny.
I love it. Love it. Where can people find you? Have you got a Facebook page where people can follow you and leave you reviews?
Yeah, so on Facebook and Instagram, I'm at Lauren Smith Comedy, and on Twitter, because that was too many letters, I'm at Lauren J Smith _ and yeah, I'm sort of generally sort of all over social media. I can't even think what gigs I've got coming up at the moment. Again, memory things without looking at my calendar. But yeah, and hopefully see me around at a gig and just validate that I'm good, because I'm needy.
You are good. You are good. That's right. Everyone needs to go and see Lauren. You're good.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I've seen you grown from your very first gig down south to the comedy in Hull. So, and I'm proud to know you.
Oh, thank you.
And
You've been such a big support to me as well. So,
well, I keep chucking you gigs when I can. I'm a very, I shouldn't go on a run, and I'm not mentioning names, but most pro bills I've been on, I've been the disabled token, instead, and there hasn't been a female on the lineup. So if I can't do the gig, someone asked me to put someone in, I always go, this might sound like I'm a pervert. I've got a female list that I know, oh, she's in the area.
Yeah.
Try and put female in there. So only because I've got nieces and sisters, female, so I know how hard any industry can be. So
Yeah, it can be. I mean, and it's great to have people like you sort of championing for us as well, you know, and it's a very different industry for women than it is for men.
yeah.
You know, and people that and people that are non-binary or trans as well, even more so in a lot of cases, I would argue. I definitely think it's, in my experience, I think there's been quite a big shift of sort of smaller promoters in the north. I think there's loads of really good smaller promoters that really put a lot of effort in to get a really diverse lineup. But there isn't enough of it. There isn't enough women being empowered to be able to do comedy, and there's not enough people with disabilities that are being empowered to be able to engage in comedy either.
I find the females who get on pro bills, once promoters know you're good, you get snapped up, you go well, and then you're invited down south and you're off the comedy club scene because you're down south doing big gigs. So
Yeah.
it's like we're not encouraging more female comedians to come onto the scene. So,
Yeah.
so
No,
what would you say to a female who wants to get into comedy?
I would say please come and have a go. It is just it's the best buzz. It's just such a great thing, and I would say reach out to other, if you're not sure, but you have seen like a female comic at like a night or a club night or like an open mic night that you like, send them a message or a comment on social media, because so we want more women, we want more people on the market, on the circuit. We want more women on the circuit, and I've done that in the past. I've sort of reached out to female comics that I've seen, and they've been great, and I know in turn I would feed that on if someone reached out to me and said that they wanted to have a go. Just please give it. It's the biggest buzz. I think everybody, even if you are terrified of public speaking, even if you don't think you're very funny, I would say everybody just give it a go just once, because it's just the best feeling in the world, making other people laugh. So if that is something that you want to do, please give it a go.
Yeah, and more physical disabled people, please, because if Blue Badge Bunch gets funding, we are going to be auditioning for the next MC for the Blue Badge Bunch. So eventually, what's going to happen is I'm going to do the East Midlands with a female disabled person. They're going to do a bit, I'm going to do a bit. We're going to have people down south, so we can do the Blue Badge Bunch everywhere.
That'd be great.
Once I've got enough work, I can start sharing, which I share below anyway.
Yeah.
So, so you keep tuned for that.
Yes,
And
definitely. Oh, I will do. Yeah.
Lauren's gonna send me her links and I will put them down below and in the comments as well. So thank you for coming on the show. It's
Thank you.
that hour's just gone quick.
I know, yeah, that's gone so quick. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. It's always really, really good to catch up with you, and hopefully we will be on a lineup again together soon.
Yes. Well, don't go away. I'm just gonna end it, but we will see you on the next episode of Benny Shakes Things Up. See you later. Bye.